All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Detroit Lions in today's video. Now, while it is the dead of the offseason, the Super Bowl pick out of the NFC to me is the Detroit Lions. We were talking about on the show earlier today. Thank you guys if you tuned into that. I don't have flaws with the Detroit Lions roster, and I've been doing a lot of it's the dead of the offseason. I've been doing a lot of these, videos kind of like going off this to-do list for all 32 teams in an article I read, and I was reading the Lions and it was like trade Hendon Hooker. There was just a bunch of random stuff. And then I came across this article from Seth Walder with ESPN, and basically he grades all 32 teams off season. The Detroit Lions, to him, were a C grade. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, they got DJ Reader. They had a phenomenal draft. They picked up a new right guard in Kevin Zeitler. They just got better. And they have so much young talent. Like, the Detroit Lions did not have a C offseason. And it was funny because I read and by the way, the 5 teams with worse off seasons were the Atlanta Falcons, the Minnesota Vikings, the Dallas Cowboys, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the New Orleans Saints. But as I was reading this article, it was funny to me because the only thing he did not like about the Lions offseason was the Jared Goff 4-year, $212 million contract extension. And he was just saying, Goff's not a top 10 QB, which I completely disagree with. Ben Johnson deserves a lot of the success. What happens if Ben Johnson ultimately leaves for a head coaching job? And while I think these are fair points, the Jared Goff slander is ridiculous. This is a top 5 offense for the last 2 seasons. And 2 years ago, they were 3-6 over halfway through the season. Like, this offense is legit. Jared Goff is legit. So I want to talk a little bit about some things I like about this offense that's a little bit more niche in today's video. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Lions fans, we try and get this video to 250 likes. I would appreciate it greatly. We also are doing a Let's Talk Football podcast. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, streaming, whatever. Neither here nor there anyways. I came across this awesome statistic because for some weird reason, Jared Goff is like the flaw that people have with the Detroit Lions. Like, go back to pre-postseason, right? Before taking down the Los Angeles Rams, before taking down Tampa Bay, and especially before the matchup against San Francisco. A lot of people had flaws with Jared Goff and his ability to, quote unquote, take over games and just lead this team to the promised land. And when I watch Jared Goff, I'm like, I don't think you could have a more reliable, consistent quarterback behind you. And, money in the NFL in today's era, especially with QBs that we saw this past season, by the way, the number's only going to continue to go up. You got to do what you got to do. And from a fan's perspective, I'm a freaking Packers fan, so it doesn't even really matter what my opinion is. But, I've always taken the stance of money is money. I'm not the GM for a good reason for any football team, any sports team. I don't need to care or worry about what my team or what a team pays somebody. I can agree, disagree, whatever. But when you look at Jared Goff, statistically speaking, and obviously with the eye test, the backlash to that contract just doesn't make sense. And for an example, Trevor Lawrence just got a fatter contract. I guess he is a little bit younger, but Jared Goff has proven to us numerous times on numerous teams that he's that dude. So here's Jared Goff compared to all quarterbacks across the league since 2021 Thanksgiving. Folks, that's 4 years ago. Minimum 800 attempts required. Completion percentage, 8th, 66.6. Yards, 3rd, over 10,000 yards. Yards per attempt, 7.5, which is 4th in the NFL. Touchdowns, 70, 4th in the NFL. Interceptions, 21, tied for 6th fewest in the NFL. And then quarterback rating of 99.6, which is the 5th in the NFL. Jared Goff is not only a top 10 quarterback, but he is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. And that is, to me, just completely obvious. But another thing that really helps him out outside of, himself, the coach, and the phenomenal coaching, and obviously Ben Johnson deserves a ton of credit for the Lions' offensive success, but the talent is still there. I was seeing this interesting article. An offensive line expert thinks Detroit Lions offensive line is in a class of its own. So Brandon Thorne of Established the Run and Trench Warfare created his 2024 tiered rankings of offensive lines. And there was only one team in his top elite offensive lines tier, and that's obviously the Detroit Lions. They lost somebody. They lost the left guard in Jonah Jackson. But folks, they have by far the best offensive line in the National Football League, in my opinion, on paper at least. And the fact that they were able to replace Jonah essentially by sending Glasgow to the left guard position and then picking up Kevin Zietler for your new right guard, I actually think their offensive line didn't get worse in any way, shape, or form. And one way we're going to see immediately is with the running back room. All right. You got David Montgomery. You have Jahmyr Gibbs, but they were a top 5 team in rushing touchdowns last year at 24, missed tackles forced at 96, explosive run plays at 55, and a rushing grade of 90.2 in 2023. Well, here's the thing. Jahmyr Gibbs was a rookie. He can run, he can catch. It took him a little bit to get going, implemented into the system, learn the system, etc., get acclimated to the NFL, right? Jahmyr Gibbs is only going to get better. So you have a top 10, undisputed in my opinion, quarterback. You got one of the best, if not the best offensive coordinator in the NFL, in Ben Johnson. You have the best offensive line in the NFL. You have, I'm being generous here, a top 5 rushing unit in the NFL. I think it's closer to 2. Maybe Christian McCaffrey, just being Christian McCaffrey, is number 1. But me personally, I think the Lions are the second best rushing group in the NFL. And then you still have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was pretty much established as a legitimate star finally last season. Then you have Sam Laporta, who literally had a historic tight end rookie season, and he was a rookie. And I got Jameson Williams, and I get it. Some people are a little bit split, indifferent on Jameson. I think we all see the talent. I think we all see the potential, but I understand some people want to see it at a consistent full season rate. And that's exactly what you have here because Josh Reynolds is no longer a part of it. But Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DPJ, Antoine Green, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Sam Laporta, so many weapons right there. But one dude who gets flown so under the radar is Khalif Raymond. And I wrote an article. I was reading an article from LionsWire.com, and it was just kind of going through his career. Went undrafted in 2016, Denver Broncos, bounced around from the Jets, the Giants, the Titans, and then the Lions signed him in 2021. He had a great season, career year, 48 catches, 576 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He follows that up with 47 catches for 616 yards. Now, last season, he didn't have the same production, but enter Amon-Ra St. Brown's career season, enter Sam Laporta's career season, etc. Josh Reynolds just being Josh Reynolds, he still had a really good season, 35 catches for 489 yards and 1 touchdown. In fact, last season he averaged 13.4 yards per touch and only had a 4.5% drop percentage. He had 2 drops on the entire season. So, myself included, I was a little worried about the Lions wide receiver room once Josh Reynolds left. But I am no longer in that camp, and everybody else is as well. So to me, the Detroit Lions offense still top 5 by far, and they're going to be my Super Bowl pick. So thank you guys for watching. It's kind of more of a rant video. Thank you guys, though. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and give me, where do the Lions rank in the NFL in offense this upcoming season? Let me know down below.